Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Sam Fesich, and I am so excited to be joining you this morning. Thank you so much for waking up with me on a Saturday morning. I got my coffee. Hopefully you got yours or whatever you're drinking. Let's jump right in. Today I'm going to be sharing 3 truths that every teacher needs to know. And this presentation was created from a little bonus chapter that I co-wrote with a couple of my author friends, and it's called EduMagic Uncharted. So these 3 ideas, these 3 truths come from that, and you can pick it up for free. I popped the little link down there. You guys can find it there. But today I'm going to be sharing about expectations, making it happen, and being unstoppable. And we're going to be working through each of these areas. So I'm a professor at Grove City College, where I have the honor and the privilege of teaching future educators. They are my jam. I love working with aspiring teachers. I'm also host of the EduMagic podcast. It's a podcast just for those aspiring teachers out there. So if you know one, direct them over there. And School Rubric, thank you so much for allowing me to share my message with you all today. So thank you so much for hosting this, and I'm really excited to jump in. All right, so friends, I know that this fall is going to look like no other school year we've ever encountered. So whether you're teaching fully online, whether you're in some sort of hybrid model where kids come 2 days a week, there's a cleaning break, and other kids come the other 2 days, and when they're not in school, maybe they're virtual, or maybe you're teaching full face-to-face 5 days a week, regular school times. No matter how you're teaching, know that you are truly an educator of excellence. We all do our best each and every day to support, reach, and teach our students, and that's what our students need now. They need us to show up, and they need us to be there for them. So let's talk about our expectations. First and foremost, it's important that we show up for our students virtually, and also if we're teaching virtually, that we also show up, in other ways. So we know online we may have seen teachers go around and visit their students and drop off little goodie bags, or drop a note in the mail to their students, which was really helpful for their students just to know, hey, I see you, I know that you're here, and I miss you, something like that. Or I know our student teachers, made little bookmarks to send out to their students. I also followed a student teacher on Instagram who packed peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for all of his students and delivered them each day to his students' houses, which was so awesome. And wow, I would definitely hire that guy. But so show up for your students virtually. That means greeting them by name as they come into the room. Have a small conversation with them just as you would as they enter your physical classroom. Be like, hey, how's it going? How's your pets? How's your brother and sister? Those types of things. To have those conversations that you normally would have in a face-to-face class online. Maybe if some people are having sporting events or something like that, you can bring that up. I know we can't go and see them, but maybe we can just ask how their game went. But showing up for them. Our students are counting on us to be there for them in any way that we can. And I think it's so important to just keep that communication open. And on the next slide, we're going to talk about some of those strategies. It's important to be flexible with yourself as a teacher and with your students. Sometimes when I was teaching online, I would extend due dates, or if some students had multiple things due on the same day, say they had a test and a paper to write all due on Wednesday, and I too had an assignment due on Wednesday, I would move mine to Friday. I would just try to be flexible and work with my students. And I would have them direct message me and say, hey, you know what, Dr. Fesich, that date is really stressing me out. Is there any way you can move it? Absolutely. We are in a pandemic. I'm going to show you some grace and some flexibility. Absolutely. So showing them that, and teaching future teachers, I think it also shows them and models to them some great teacher behaviors we want them to pick up as well. Showing grace with your students. So sometimes we may have missed, clicking that submit button in our learning management system. So instead of going 0, no points, I would reach out and say, hey, I think you forgot to click submit. Would you mind doing so at some point today? And, usually they would, or, just a little more nudging. So just sending out reminders and things like that. So some ways our expectations might change is in the world of communication. We're used to greeting our students by name as they come into our room, giving high fives. For our little ones, maybe some hugs and maybe some elbow bumps or whatever you want to do. But that's totally different in a virtual space. So it's important that we check in often. It's important that we check in with our individual students. Every Friday, I would send a direct message to each and every one of my students. It was pretty much the same message saying, hey, how's it going? Really glad you made it to class this week. Here's what we covered. Here's what's going on for next week. And then I would add something personal. So if they were involved in a group, I would ask about that. If they were in group work, if they were involved, if they, brought their pet to class that week, I'd ask them about their pet. I'd add a little something personal. And when they would respond, I would respond via voice message. And so many students thought that was just a neat personal way to do it. So responding with your voice, like, oh, I'm so glad you responded. Yep, I'm super excited for next week. We're going to explore QR codes or whatever it might be. So having that voice, that intonation, that human connection is super important. Before we left for classes, I had students form small groups of 3 or 4, and those were their group of people that they would ask questions to. They would answer questions. They would check in on each other, and they also added me to those groups so then we can use them during our large group instruction. So during our large group instruction, I'm a big person that does like think, pair, share a lot. So I couldn't do that in an online space. So we would use our small group. All right, here's our prompt. Go into your small groups and share about that. And as they were sharing, I can be, shouting out in the large group what other people were talking about. So it's important to use those strategies that we always do. Pedagogy is good pedagogy. And we can use some of those strategies in our online space. We just might need to think about it a little bit differently. And friends, the next one I want to talk about is being unstoppable. We need to take care of ourselves. We've heard that phrase, you can't pour from an empty cup, and it's so true. We have to set boundaries. We have to take care of ourselves, and that's going to look different for everybody. Running, taking a walk, meditation, journaling, those are all things that you can do to help support yourself as a teacher. One of the things that I love to do is setting boundaries on my phone. So in my digital wellness, I set 25 minutes for social media and phone and everything like that. So I have restrictions on myself because I can just scroll and scroll, but I need to stop sometimes. And also being unstoppable, it's important to have motivation to keep you going. Keep your why in mind. Go back to why you became an educator of excellence. Post that somewhere. Have it on a Post-it note or written on your computer somewhere, maybe as your desktop background. Fill your space with motivational quotes and images, things that inspire you and feed your teaching soul, and connect with other educators. So go back to those YouTube channels from School Rubric, check out those podcasts, engage with educators on Twitter and Instagram through chats or just engaging in conversation. We're all out there, and we're all, I feel like teachers are helpers, and we want to help each other and support each other, encourage each other, and challenge one another to be the best that we can. And a great way to do that is connecting on social media. And I know that a lot of us moved from face-to-face to online learning in a snap. Maybe we're given a week, maybe we're given 3 days to get everything online. But you know what? Through trial and error, through technology glitching, through, sometimes meetings would come up and nobody would be there. We made it work. We truly did. And all you new teachers and veteran teachers out there, we can all make it work together. I'm going to just quickly share 3 tools that really helped me get this working. So Nearpod is a fantastic tool to use to help students keep on the same slide as you. You can also engage them in learning with drawing prompts, fill in the blank prompts, multiple choice questions, true and false. There's also a really fun one, and college students love this. It's called a time to climb, and they all compete against each other and they race up this mountain. They're like, ah! So it's a lot of fun, and Nearpod is a great way to do that. You can upload your PowerPoints right in there and pop in engaging content. Another nice one is Screencast-O-Matic. So sometimes my students would contact me and say, hey, Dr. Fecich, I can't get this widget to embed, or I can't log into this one site, or whatever it might be. So if they couldn't meet me during virtual office hours, or if we just couldn't get our schedules to sync up, I use Screencast-O-Matic, which is a great Chrome extension that allows you to record video on either your browser or your desktop, and it's up to 5 or 10 minutes, I can't remember. And then you can quickly share that out. So it's a really nice screen recording. You can do this for office hours, you can do this for assignments, you can do this for examples. And then another great one is Google Forms and checking in. If we go back to checking in with our students, every day I had a little check-in form. I told my students, now these forms are not anonymous, but they are voluntary, and it would just share, how are you doing today? How can I help support you? Where's your focus today? And they would have like a little Likert scale, like I'm focused, I'm ready to go, or you know what, I'm worried about something, or I'm not ready yet, those types of things. So I'd be able to go in and check in on them through those direct messages. Say, hey, I'm thinking about you. What can I do to help support you? Or just doing Google Forms for assessment. So there's lots of stuff that you can do to connect with your students, make those meaningful connections, and have them and support yourself as a teacher and support your students. So I want to thank you so much for your time. I hope that we can connect over on Twitter or Instagram. I keep it easy at sfessich on both, and you can grab the freebie that these three truths were based on. There's more. There's 5 more there. So go ahead, check that out, and thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to Jen's presentation.